What's up? Welcome to Models and Agents, episode 50 on May 16th, 2026. Let's see what shipped. Lots of news to walk through. Let's start with what actually matters. An agent that manages another agent just moved from research demo to production reality at Fin. Fin, the company formerly known as Intercom, launched Fin Operator. This new AI system exists only to configure, debug, and monitor the customer-facing Fin agent. It pulls conversation metrics into charts, ingests product PDFs to refresh help articles, traces failed conversations back to specific guidance rules, and surfaces proposed fixes as reviewable diffs. Operator runs on Claude instead of Fin's own Apex models because the work resembles software engineering more than customer support. Every change still needs explicit human approval before it goes live. Early beta users say it feels like adding 5 people to the operations team. General availability is set for summer 2026 inside the Pro tier with usage-based billing. The launch shows that enterprises will productionize meta agents when strict human oversight stays in place. Now let's move to model updates. On Terminal Bench 2.0, the Twin 3.6-35B-A3B model with the little coder scaffold scored 24.6%. That result beats Gemini 2.5 Pro on the Gemini command line interface. The smaller 9B variant reached 9.2%, showing that models under 10 billion parameters can now post measurable scores on hard agentic benchmarks. The leaderboard entry also highlights that scaffold choice still matters more than raw parameter count. Zifra released the ZAY-A1-8B diffusion preview. The team converted an autoregressive mixture of experts model into a discrete diffusion model. The change moved decoding from memory bandwidth bound to compute bound and delivered up to 7.7 times faster inference. Early checks show no systematic loss on standard evaluations. This marks the first public demonstration of turning an existing mixture of experts LLM into a diffusion model at this scale. Gemma 4 26B now runs an MLX with a custom TurboQuant backend and rotating KV cache. On an M5 MacBook Air, the setup handles 128K context and 4 concurrent batches. At 8K context, it outperforms llama.cpp on both prompt processing and generation speed, while using less runtime memory. A custom kernel for sliding window attention layers preserves the 2-bit memory savings even at higher batch sizes. Allen AI released the Molmo Act 2 series of 5B vision language action models. The models were fine-tuned on robotics datasets, including LIBERO, DROID, and bimanual tasks. All weights, training datasets, code, and papers are fully open. They target absolute joint pose control and interactive robotics scenarios. Let's look at agent and tool developments. Recursive MAS lets agents collaborate entirely in latent space instead of exchanging text tokens. The approach yields 1.2 to 2.4 times faster inference and up to 75% token reduction. Only lightweight recursive link modules, 0.31% of total parameters, are trained while base models stay frozen. Tests across code, math, and medical reasoning benchmarks used open weight models. A new tutorial shows how to build a fully functional MCP-style routed agent system. The system includes dynamic tool discovery, structured planning, and context injection. It ships with a modular tool server that exposes web search, local retrieval, dataset loading, and Python execution. The code is built to be extended for custom agent workflows. Nexidian is an open-source hierarchical markdown note-taking app. An autonomous background agent can reorganize notes, summarize subtrees, or extract action items. All work runs locally against OpenAI-compatible endpoints and includes built-in version control, so every AI edit can be reverted. A Docker Compose setup spins up the full stack, including the task runner. On the practical side, a developer indexed roughly 200K documents on an ASUS ZenBook with Snapdragon X2 Elite Extreme. The setup uses VecML's on-device AI database, keeps most data on disk, and maintains a small active buffer. The NPU delivers about 50% of an RTX 5060's embedding speed, inside far tighter power and thermal limits. The little coder scaffold that powered the top terminal bench 2.0 twin entry is now public on GitHub. It shows that a relatively simple scaffold can lift a 35B mixture of experts model above larger closed models on agentic coding tasks. The repo includes the exact configuration used for the 24.6% leaderboard run. If you want to try something concrete this week, spin up the little coder scaffold against Twin 3.6-35B-A3B on terminal-bench 2.0. Test recursive MAS on a small code generation or medical reasoning benchmark if you already run multiple open weight models in sequence. Run the MCP-style routed agent tutorial locally and swap in your own tool server to measure planning overhead versus a simple React loop. Clone Nexidion and point it at a local Chwen or Gemma endpoint to experiment with autonomous note reorganization under version control. On the horizon, Fin Operator moves from early access beta to general availability this summer inside the Pro tier. Zifra plans to release trained weights and quality benchmarks for the ZAYA1 diffusion model once training completes. Allen AI continues releasing new Molmo Act 2 fine-tunes on additional robotics datasets with full training code and data. Okay, let's pop the hood on diffusion decoding for LLMs. The technique replaces sequential token-by-token sampling with iterative denoising of a full latent sequence. The model starts with random noise and applies a learned denoiser for a fixed number of steps, refining every position simultaneously. Expensive operations become matrix multiplies instead of memory-bound KV cache reads, which is why Zifra saw 7.7 times speedups on the 8B mixture of experts model. Training adds a second loss term and requires careful scheduling of noise levels across diffusion steps. Quality matches autoregressive baselines only when the schedule is tuned per model size. Below roughly 7B parameters, the gap widens quickly. When you need maximum tokens per second on short to medium outputs and can accept a small quality regression during early training, diffusion decoding is worth trying. For long, coherent generation, or when you must stay inside existing autoregressive fine-tunes, the classic next token approach remains simpler. The common gotcha is assuming any diffusion schedule works. Without per-model calibration, the output often collapses into repetitive patterns after step 4. Tomorrow, keep an eye on Zifra's release of the trained ZAYA1 weights and the first full-quality benchmarks. That's models and agents for today. If you found this useful, share it with someone who's trying to keep up with all these changes, and subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's update. The AI world moves fast. We'll help you keep up. See you tomorrow. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.